I'm not expecting anything special in 2012 around December 21st.
An inscription tells us that the modern period will end December 24th, 2011 AD. We may presume that
I'm not going to lay in any extra supplies, no survival gear. I'm just going to lay in an extra supply of eggnog for the coming holiday season.
They've given me a few minutes just to talk to all of you in our NASA family about emergency preparedness.
I'm not going to lay in any extra supplies, no survival gear. I'm just going to lay in an extra supply of eggnog for the coming holiday season. There's no planet Nibiru, there's no planet X, and nothing is hurtling toward us. But there have been claims on the internet that there is a planet called Nibiru, 4 times the size of the Earth, that's going to come close to the Earth or smack it in December of 2012.
Scientists say it may be a new planet on the edge of our solar system. It's called Tiki, named for an ancient Greek goddess. If it's real, Tiki is a supergiant, 4 times the size of Jupiter, made of hydrogen and heat.
Scientists are one step closer to understanding the galaxy following the discovery of more than 1,000 new planets out.
There's no planet Nibiru, there's no planet X, and nothing is hurtling toward us. But there have been claims on the internet that there is a planet called Nibiru, 4 times the size of the Earth, that's going to come close to the Earth or smack it in December of 2012. There's no planet Nibiru, there's no planet X, and nothing is...
What is that on screen? No astronomer has seen this before. Scientists say they're clueless about what it might be. A meteor, a star, clearly a UFO, as in unidentified. Michio Kaku is a theoretical physics professor and host of the new Science Channel series Sci-Fi Science, Physics of the Impossible, Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, renewed for a second season. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Back on the screen, what is it?
We don't know. We don't know. We are stumped. Scientists around the world are saying, what the heck is this object? It doesn't fit any of the profiles of the usual suspects. That's the problem.
The usual suspects are comet, meteor,
stars, galaxies, planets.
How about some sort of alien dealio? You buying into that?
Well, you know, the object is about the size of the Rose Bowl Stadium. So it's too small to be a planet or a star or a galaxy. And it's not a comet. There's no gas in the tail of that comet. It's not a meteor because it's not inside the Earth's atmosphere. So what is it? We're scratching our head. The only thing we can think of at the present time is a once-in-a-lifetime event.
But there's no telescopic evidence. There's no evidence that it's perturbed any of the inner planets or the outer planets, which it would have to do if it were in an orbit around the sun.
It might look pretty, but this solar blast could cause disruption down on Earth. Radiation from the sun could make satellite communications and power supplies malfunction. NASA say it's a combination of a solar flare, a coronal mass injection, and a minor radiation storm. And these pictures were recorded by some very sophisticated NASA toys. They reckon it'll hit us Earth dwellers any moment now, but it's only going to glance us rather than hit us directly.
And so there's no evidence whatsoever, and as Carl Sagan pointed out many times, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and there's no evidence whatsoever for Nibiru. The Mayan calendar does not end in 2012.
An inscription tells us that the modern period will end December 24th, 2011 AD.
They have terms that they use for long periods of time, much like we have terms for long periods of time, like a decade, a millennia. The Mayans had something called the long count, which was 5,125 years long, and that's what's coming to an end on December 21st, 2012. But a new long count begins on December 22nd, 2012, much like our own calendar ends on December 31st, and a new calendar for the next year begins on January 1. Regarding the solar maximum cycle, the sun has a period of solar activity that lasts about 11 years, so it is scheduled to reach a maximum around 2012.
Late Monday night, the sun let loose with what we call a Class X2 solar flare. It's the largest class of solar flare. This was kind of a small one, X2. It's about 1/10 of the biggest that we've ever seen. But what we were excited about is that it was the largest flare since December of 2006. And it's the largest flare that we've had so far in solar cycle 24, and it's the first X flare that we've seen with the Solar Dynamics Observatory. The immediate expectation is that is it going to hit us directly? It turns out that this material, as it moves away from the sun, has moved just a little bit behind us as we move along in our orbit. It's like trying to throw a pass at somebody and they've gone just a little bit too quickly along the line and you threw the pass behind them. So we're going to be hit by the edge of the particles, but not by the full force of the particles.
But it's been doing this for millennia. It reaches a solar maximum every 11 years or so for millennia, and there's no reason to suspect that this 2012 time period will be any different from the others.
Time in month over Greenland's most westerly town, Ilulissat. Residents staggered out of their doors, blinking and deeply regretting that last beer, and feeling that surely it wasn't quite time to get up yet. And it wasn't. The sunrise, beautiful as it was, came at about 1 in the afternoon on Tuesday. All very well, but they'd not been expecting it until yesterday. There are, of course, conflicting theories about how this could have happened.
Now, as far as the Earth's magnetic field goes, there is, in historic time, pole reversals, north to south, south to north. But that sort of pole reversal of the Earth's magnetic field occurs on 400,000-year timescales, and it takes thousands of years for that change in polarity to take place. And there's no evidence whatsoever that it's going to start changing polarity in 2012. And even if it did,
just when you thought there couldn't be more change going on in the world, it turns out magnetic north is moving. Aviators knew this. It's always moved, but not like this. In fact, it's on the move about
that wouldn't affect the rotation of the Earth, nor would it affect the rotation axis of the Earth. There are no planetary alignments in 2012. There won't be any planetary alignments for a couple of decades on either side of 2012, and even if there were...
All you backyard astronomers and stargazers out there better listen up, because if you set your alarm clock early enough over the next week, you are in for a huge treat. 6 planets have aligned, and get this, if you time it right and the sky is clear and, you know, the moon turns blue, no, I'm kidding, you can see the spectacle just by looking up. The host of CBC Radio's Quirks and Quarks, Bob McDonald, is here with more. I find this a little hard to believe.
It wouldn't be an effect, because the only objects in space that materially affect the Earth's motion are the sun and the moon. Folks have to be very careful when they get information on the web, and that goes especially for objects that are in near Earth space and are coming close to the Earth. We have a website called Asteroid Watch, which is backed with evidence and scientific method. If we put something out there, it's the truth. If you go to other websites and they're putting things out without evidence, without science, don't believe it. You have to be very careful where you go for your information.
22-year-old Australian student has perhaps solved a mystery that's puzzled scientists for years. During an internship at the University of Melbourne, she located an intergalactic mass that had moved to what is termed the filaments of the galaxies, which stretch across enormous expanses of space. Astrophysicists have known about the missing mass for the past 2 decades, but the technology required to pinpoint a location has become available only in recent years. At least that's one view. Now for another view. The country has been under siege by weather in recent years. Devastating tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, droughts have killed thousands, caused billions in damage. A lot of people want to talk about global warming. They want to talk about man-made changes in our environment. But according to a top government scientist, there is a far more important threat, that of solar max, storms on the sun that could cripple this world's satellite communications, navigation systems, and electrical transmission equipment and grids. Here to talk about this and whether or not we are living in overdependency on electrical grids and products that could lead to calamity is Dr. Charles Liu, Professor of Astrophysics at CUNY College of Staten Island, Associate at the Hayden Planetarium, Great to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Charles, let's start with first the issue of the filaments in the galaxy. And this is, if this is true...
We have the potential for all kinds of telecommunications issues. The infrastructural damage, the economic damage could be immense.
Immense? Could it also be lasting?
Regarding the solar maximum cycle, the sun has a period of solar activity that lasts about 11 years, so it is scheduled to reach a maximum around 2012.
They've given me a few minutes just to talk to all of you in our NASA family about emergency preparedness.
Extra supply of eggnog.
NASA recently participated in a FEMA exercise called Eagle Horizon that was a part of a continuity of operations and government exercise that we do annually. And I became aware of some things that concern me about our family preparedness, and I wanted to talk to you very briefly. You know, we in NASA, we're an incredibly unique organization. We're the only agency in the federal government that's responsible for the safety and well-being of people not only here on Earth, but off this planet. So my experience in the astronaut office, my experience as an active duty Marine, always talked about the importance of family preparedness and to make sure that we had a viable family support program. And I have concerns that ours right now is not as good as it ought to be. So what I'm asking all of you in the NASA family, whether you're out on the West Coast, here on the East Coast, along the Gulf Coast, up on the Great Lakes, think about the natural disasters that could occur in your area. Think about attacks that could come like 9/11 from outside forces, and talk to your family about your work and what they need to do to prepare for the unforeseen.
I'm not going to lay in any extra supplies, no survival gear.
Develop a family preparedness plan in your house. Have an emergency supply kit available.
I'm not going to lay in any extra supplies.
Most people who live along the Gulf Coast always have an emergency kit for hurricanes. I'm not sure whether people out on the West Coast think about earthquakes and the like, but have an emergency supply kit at your home. Think about a family communications plan. Where are we going to meet if an emergency occurs and we're all over town? What are we going to do? Are we going to call each other on the cell phone? Just think about those things. If you have pets, think about a pet preparedness plan. How are you going to make sure that they're taken care of when you're spread all over the place? And then if you have family members who have special needs preparedness. The most important asset for us to successfully complete our mission is that our people, our families mainly, are taken care of so that we can come to work and feel good that if an emergency arises, our families are going to be taken care of. So I would ask you again, sit with your families, think about what you would do in an emergency situation. I hope that you'll embrace and support the family preparedness program as we all get better prepared to deal with these emergencies. Know your stuff. You know what it is that you're going to do, know what it is that you want your family to do if an emergency arises. But most of all, be prepared.
Hi, my name is David Morrison. I'm a space scientist at NASA Ames Research Center. For the last 2 years, I've been answering hundreds of questions from the public about 2012 and the supposed threat to Earth. And so now I want to take a chance to talk to some of you more directly. There is no threat to Earth in 2012.